Don't do it. Emmy.
Oh, wow.
I get bad grades, I was getting arrested, I was doing all the wrong things.
Right.
And then in '82, I got caught stealing credit cards, and they released me into Keenen's custody. And I told him, I said, I can't do this.
Right.
My mother is gonna watch this show. I can't do this. And they're like, yeah, got it.
At 65, Damon Wayans confirms why the Wayans got banned from Hollywood. But this isn't just a story of laughter. It's a story of clashes, battles, and challenges behind the scenes.
They do this, they wait for you to get hot, and then they bet on you with a bunch of bad movies. I've been able to understand story, produce product, learn to write scripts. I've done nothing but made Hollywood money.
From being fired live on Saturday Night Live to creative feuds with his brother Keenen on In Living Color, Damon's career has often been defined by confrontation and courage.
I did, I got fired after in the middle of the season.
Are you the only one that's ever happened to? Has anybody that you know of?
I got fired live. I didn't even make the good nights.
Damn! They didn't let the curtain come.
He spoke out against racial stereotyping, endured public criticism, and faced personal struggles along the way. Today, we pull back the curtain on the controversies, the feuds, and the truths Hollywood rarely tells. Damon Wayans' career has always been defined by bold choices and a willingness to challenge the status quo. One of his most high-profile conflicts came during his time on the FOX television series Lethal Weapon, where he portrayed the iconic character Roger Murtaugh from 2016 to 2019. Wayans announced his departure after the third season, citing the intense physical and emotional demands of the production. At 58 years old and managing type 2 diabetes, he described the grueling 16-hour workdays as overwhelming. The pressure extended beyond his own health, affecting his family life. He missed critical personal events, including surgeries for his mother and daughter, moments that weighed heavily on him as a husband, father, and son. Compounding the challenge were ongoing tensions with co-star Clayne Crawford, who faced allegations of behavior. Wayans' exit shone a light on the difficulties actors often face behind the scenes, particularly when production schedules and interpersonal conflicts collide under the glare of a high-profile network show. Yet this was far from the first time Wayans confronted Hollywood head-on. In the early 2000s, he became outspoken about racial bias and stereotyping in the industry, criticizing the tendency to confine black actors to limiting roles. His honesty drew both criticism and admiration, as many peers respected his insistence on holding the industry accountable. Wayans argued that systemic stereotyping not only restricted careers, but also reinforced harmful cultural narratives, making his advocacy for broader representation both personal and professional. His critique positioned him as a figure unafraid to challenge entrenched norms, willing to risk backlash for the sake of creative integrity and fairness. Wayans' career also featured a major what-if moment with the 1996 hit film Jerry Maguire. He was a top contender for the role of Rod Tidwell, eventually played by Cuba Gooding Jr. During a high-stakes meeting with Tom Cruise and director Cameron Crowe, Wayans delivered an improvisation that he felt showcased his full range. Yet he noticed a subtle gesture from Cruise, signaling that his height 6 feet 2 inches was deemed incompatible with the part. Though he did not land the role, he later received a 5-page letter from Crowe praising his talent and explaining that the decision was beyond his control, a reminder that even in defeat, recognition of skill mattered. Behind these public and professional battles, Wayans navigated personal struggles that shaped his resilience. He has openly discussed bouts of depression and substance use, coping mechanisms triggered by grief following the death of his brother and other personal heartbreaks. His 2000 divorce from Lisa Thorner, after 16 years of marriage, involved both financial disputes and a custody battle over their 4 children, placing his private life under public scrutiny. In addition, his type 2 diabetes diagnosis in January 2014 demanded major lifestyle changes, affecting diet, activity, and daily routines. Through health challenges, industry conflicts, and personal heartbreak, Damon Wayans demonstrated a steadfast commitment to his craft. Each setback, whether public or private, became a catalyst for growth, preparing him for the next chapter of his career. Damon Wayans arrived at Saturday Night Live for the 1985 to 1986 season, full of ambition. Growing up inspired by Richard Pryor's fearless, unapologetically black voice, he believed he had the talent and vision to make an impact on one of television's most legendary stages. What should have been his big break, however, quickly became a battle over creative control and respect. From the outset, Wayans found himself stifled. Screen time was minimal, and producers seemed intent on turning him into a prop, much like they had done years earlier with Garrett Morris. One infamous sketch illustrates the challenge. He was told to stand in a loincloth holding a spear, with no lines. He refused, remarking, "I can't do this. My mother is going to watch this show." This early incident was emblematic of Wayans' unwillingness to compromise his dignity, even under immense pressure. Wayans had been forewarned. Eddie Murphy, who had just left SNL, pulled him aside at a celebration party. "Learn to write your own sketches, because they're going to put you in it and you're going to hate it. They're going to give you black stuff to do that you're going to hate." Wayans took the advice seriously, writing his own material, but found the response discouraging. Many sketches were rejected outright, sometimes read coldly in front of him with comments like, "I just don't get it." The network seemed unwilling to nurture his unique comedic voice. The tension culminated during a live sketch. Instead of portraying the straight cop as written, Wayans improvised, performing the character as a flamboyant gay officer. The moment of defiance was immediate and public. Lorne Michaels, visibly angry, told him, "John Belushi never did this to me," and fired him on air.
Hang me on the door, on the hook where your
Right.
coat is. That's how he babysit me.
Right.
And I had to like put my foot on the doorknob so I didn't choke to death.
Right.
So, and then every once in a while he come check on me and punch me on my chest.
You know what, Damon, you guys are like, your mom them had a stretch, 8-year period. They were 10-year period. They were good. They had like 8, 56, 58, 60, 61, 63, 64, 65.
Wayans later admitted he acted deliberately, seeing the choice as binary to assert creative authority or leave the show entirely. Though brief, his stint at SNL was formative. It exposed the systemic barriers black performers faced on network television, sharpened his comedic instincts, and reinforced his commitment to control his own material. Far from being a setback, SNL was a proving ground, teaching him that rejection and constraint could be transformed into opportunity. Wayans left the show frustrated but undeterred, carrying with him the seeds of characters that would later define his legacy. The rejection on SNL wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a revolution in comedy that the Wayans family would lead. The experience set the tone for what was to come. Unapologetically bold, boundary-pushing humor that would challenge both Hollywood and societal norms.
I said, "Get me out of here." Everything I did was to go. But see, God has plans.
Right.
Right? So In Living Color was my vindication.
Following his turbulent stint on Saturday Night Live, Damon Wayans turned his attention to a project that would redefine television comedy. In 1990, he joined forces with his older brother, Keenen Ivory Wayans, to create In Living Color, a Fox sketch series that broke new ground for network television. At a time when predominantly African-American casts and edgy satire were rare on mainstream channels, the show offered a bold, irreverent voice that challenged cultural norms and delivered humor with unapologetic honesty. Fox, still a young network eager to compete with established stations, granted Keenen extraordinary creative freedom. Inspired by the success of his 1988 film, I'm Gonna Get You Sucka, Keenen envisioned a show that could blend social commentary, physical comedy, and boundary-pushing satire in ways that mainstream television had never attempted. Damon's unique comedic talents fit perfectly into this vision, providing the series with characters and sketches that were both daring and memorable.
Ultimately in Living Color, that I showed them what I could do. And I was writing stuff for these characters.
In Living Color quickly became a cultural phenomenon. Its influence extended far beyond comedy, helping launch the careers of Jim Carrey, Jamie Foxx, and Jennifer Lopez, among others. Damon himself thrived as both a writer and performer, developing a gallery of characters that were bold, eccentric, and unapologetically satirical. Every sketch was meticulously crafted to entertain while critiquing societal norms, exploring racial stereotypes, and poking fun at power structures in ways that television had rarely dared to show. Despite its acclaim, the show's bold approach sparked controversy. Critics and cultural commentators debated whether some characters inadvertently reinforced the very stereotypes they aimed to critique. Homie D. Clown, with his defiant anti-authority persona, and the flamboyant film critics Blaine Edwards and Antoine Merriweather from the Men on Film sketches became lightning rods for discussion. While supporters argued that the show subverted these tropes to expose absurdities, detractors questioned whether satire could justify exaggeration or ridicule. The tension between praise and critique became a defining element of the show's legacy. Behind the camera, the Wayans family faced additional challenges. Creative differences emerged between Damon, who favored more daring, socially conscious material, and Keenen, who sought a balance to maintain broad audience appeal. Compounding these differences were financial disputes. Reports suggested that FOX was undercompensating Keenen, creating uncertainty over his leadership as the show's creator. These pressures ultimately led to Keenen's abrupt departure in 1992, with Damon and the rest of the family following within the next year. In Living Color stands as a testament to both the brilliance and complexity of the Wayans' approach to comedy. It demonstrates their willingness to take risks, confront boundaries, and champion African-American talent in front of and behind the camera. Yet it also illustrates the personal and professional costs of pioneering change in an industry resistant to unconventional voices. The show's impact continues to resonate, reflecting a legacy of fearless innovation, boundary-pushing satire, and the challenges inherent in reshaping the landscape of television comedy. The sketches SNL rejected the creative sparks they dismissed would later define Damon Wayans' career. But to truly understand the fearless, boundary-pushing artist he became, we have to go back to where it all began. Born on September 4, 1960, in Harlem, New York City, Damon was the fourth of 9 children raised by Howell and Elvira Wayans. Life in the Fulton housing projects was humble. His father, a supermarket manager, supported 12 people on just $12,000 a year.
Under one roof. Mm-hmm. Bro, and I read that your father made like $12,000 a year.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, okay. Yeah. To feed that many kids.
His mother, a master of frugality, could feed the family on as little as $10 a day, with meals like pig knuckles and rice. Discipline in the Wayans household was strict. Howell, following the adage, "Spare the rod, spoil the child," often used his hand to enforce lessons.
My dad would beat you like he didn't know you.
Right.
Damon recalled once being beaten for stealing 15 cents a moment that left a lasting mark and fueled his determination to never live in poverty again. From birth, Damon faced a severe physical challenge. He was born with a club foot, twisted completely around.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a club foot. It looked normal.
I have a club foot.
It looked normal.
I have.
His childhood involved painful surgeries, orthopedic shoes, and leg braces.
Okay.
right?
So you had to wear the iron braces at the bottom?
Yep, orthopedic shoe. Came up to here. You know, it was,
Walking with a limp, he endured relentless teasing from peers. At one point, school officials assumed a mental disability and placed him in special education until his mother intervened. Even at home, life wasn't easy. Older brother Dwayne sometimes tormented him, once hanging him by his coat on a doorknob. To cope, Damon turned inward, developing his comedic instincts and creating bizarre characters as both defense and expression. School was a battlefield. After being expelled from multiple high schools for being a class clown, Damon dropped out and worked various odd jobs, including as a mail clerk. In 1982, he looked up to his older brother, Keenen Ivory Wayans, and followed him to Hollywood, determined to make his mark.
like, I, at a young age, started looking to Keenen, because Keenen just did everything right. He was just like my role model, and I knew if I could do what he's doing, I'll be all right.
That same year, he began performing stand-up comedy. His first show was rough. He bombed, but a single laugh convinced him he had found his calling. Early gigs were humble. Sometimes comedians were paid with little more than a burger and fries. Wayans' first film break came in 1984, with a small role as an effeminate hotel employee in Beverly Hills Cop. Eddie Murphy, having seen Damon's stand-up and loved his Banana Man character, insisted he be cast.
The Banana Man, I was still working in the mailroom, and he told Marty Brest, the director, you gotta let him do it. He wanted me to play the Brunson.
Bit roles followed in films like Roxanne, and Keenan's spoofs Hollywood Shuffle and I'm Gonna Get You Sucka. These early experiences built the foundation for his career and ultimately led him to a featured player spot on Saturday Night Live, where the first public test of his defiance would take place. From these early struggles, a comedian was born, one unafraid to challenge Hollywood, set the rules on his own terms, and turn rejection into opportunity. From the Fulton housing projects to the stages of Hollywood, Damon Wayans learned early that life demanded resilience. The hardships of his childhood poverty, a physical disability, bullying, and strict discipline shaped the man who would later confront the entertainment industry head-on. But the struggles didn't end once he achieved fame. In many ways, his personal battles were just beginning, and they would test him far beyond the stage lights. Even as Damon became a household name, grief and loss cast a long shadow over his life. He has been candid about struggling with depression and turning to substances to cope with the death of his brother and other personal heartbreaks. These challenges were intensely private, yet they intersected with his public persona, informing the raw honesty in his comedy. Humor became both a shield and a lifeline, allowing him to process pain while connecting with audiences. In 2000, Damon faced another significant trial: his divorce from Lisa Thorner after 16 years of marriage. The separation was highly publicized, involving financial disputes and a custody battle over their 4 children. The pressures of the divorce highlighted the delicate balance Damon had to maintain between his professional ambitions and his role as a father. Despite the scrutiny, he remained committed to his family and continued to pursue projects that allowed him creative freedom and self-expression. Around the same time, Damon encountered serious health challenges. In 2014, he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, a condition that required him to make substantial changes to his lifestyle and daily habits. Not long after, he discovered a brain tumor on his pituitary gland. As a Jehovah's Witness, Damon underwent surgery without a blood transfusion, a decision that reflected his faith and remarkable courage. On top of this, he continues to live with chronic pain caused by a congenital clubfoot, a reminder of the obstacles he faced from birth. Through these trials, Damon's resilience became his defining trait. The grief, the divorce, and the health struggles did not weaken him. Instead, they shaped his perspective, and informed his art. He learned to confront adversity head-on, using personal pain to fuel his performances and push boundaries in his work. Underlying all these challenges was one constant: the Wayans family. Siblings and children alike provided a network of love and support that helped Damon navigate some of the toughest chapters of his life. While Hollywood could be unpredictable and often unforgiving, the family bond offered a source of strength that no setback could erase.
That's it.
What can people take away from the Wayans family with the way you guys interact?
Through all of Hollywood's highs and lows, controversies, and personal battles, one constant in Damon Wayans' life has been his family. The Wayans clan isn't just a name in comedy. They are a dynasty, forged in the Fulton housing projects of Harlem, where Howell and Elvira Wayans raised 10 children on limited means but unlimited ambition. That bond, forged through shared hardship, would become both a shield and a launching pad for generations of comedians. Damon often refers to his siblings as his best friends. Together, they redefined what it meant to be a black family in entertainment, refusing to fit into Hollywood's narrow expectations. Keenen Ivory Wayans, the eldest, paved the way with Hollywood Shuffle, and eventually In Living Color. Damon, Marlon, Sean, Kim, and the rest of the family followed, each carving out their own space while contributing to a shared vision of comedy that was bold, edgy, and unapologetically honest. Their success was unprecedented, and rarely had so many members of one family dominated television, film, and stand-up simultaneously. But along with fame came pressure. The second generation, including Damon Wayans Jr., faced the dual challenge of living up to a legendary family name while forging their own identities. Being a Wayans meant inheriting a legacy of brilliance and scrutiny. Every choice was measured against the standards set by their parents and older siblings, from box office hits to sketch comedy triumphs. For some, that pressure was motivating. For others, it was a heavy burden. The family also faced profound personal losses that reshaped their dynamic. In recent years, the passing of parents Howell and Elvira Wayans struck the siblings hard, reminding them that behind the laughs and the public persona was a family built on love, sacrifice, and shared history. Their absence reinforced the importance of maintaining the familial bonds that had always been their foundation. Despite the challenges, creative conflicts, public controversies, and personal tragedies, the Wayans family legacy remains unshakable. They built something Hollywood couldn't fully control, a brand of comedy and storytelling rooted in authenticity, resilience, and brotherly and sisterly loyalty. Damon, now 65, reflects on a career that spans decades of pushing boundaries, challenging stereotypes, and speaking truth to power, often at great personal cost. Yet, even amid health battles, career setbacks, and heartbreak, the Wayans name continues to shine as a beacon of ingenuity and influence. Hollywood may have tried to sideline them, and controversies may have threatened to overshadow their contributions. But the Wayans family endures. From Harlem to prime time, from stand-up stages to the silver screen, their story is one of triumph over adversity, creative boldness, and unbreakable family ties.